In 1957, a group of officers within the Brownwood Police Department came together to form the BMPA. Okay, their thoughts were to help build a better police department. Since that time, a lot of things have changed within the department and within the association. The one thing that hasn't changed since then is the way we honor our people. We honor dedication to service, self-sacrifice, and outstanding work performance. As it was back then, and it is now, we continue to do so. We strive to live up to the legacy that was given to us and to continue to set the standard for those that will follow us. Okay? So again, thank you for coming this evening. I'm now going to go ahead and turn this over to our MC for the evening, Ray Tipton.
Good evening, everyone. Thanks for attending tonight. I was quite honored to be asked by Freddie and Jill to MC this event again. I think I did it a couple of years ago. I don't know time. As I get older, 4 years ago? Wow. As you get older, time just kind of flies by, and I'm getting quite elderly these days. So, the honoring and supporting local police officers is really important to me for a couple of reasons, for personal reasons and for professional reasons. And for those who don't know me, I'm the executive director for the Brownwood Area Chamber of Commerce. But on a personal level, I have a long lineage of police officers in my family. My father was a DPS, highway patrolman for 26, 28 years, something like that. And my grandfather was the chief of police in Andrews, Texas, way, way back before I was born. So law enforcement's always been near and dear to my heart. But on a professional level, and many of you heard me give this speech before, being responsible basically for the business climate in Brownwood, Texas, nothing can make the business climate go south worse than, or as quick as crime that's out of control. So I think it's really important to support our local police departments because you men and women do a phenomenal job protecting the property and the residents of the community. So I appreciate the invitation to MC this event again. I have about 5 jokes in my head that I'm going to eventually say, and they're probably going to be at the expense of a few people in the room. So be prepared. You may or may not know who you are at this time. So I'll assess the situation when the time's appropriate before we get to that point. So we're going to do a couple of other things before we eat, and I think at this point, if you want to go ahead and come forward. Please rise. Freddie, how are we looking on the food? Are we ready to go? Stand by or sit by.
They're checking out.
Tell my joke. I would like to, just a little observation here. I like how there's a party room over here. Is that right? Is this the party room over here? That's what I thought. And then you guys are way more serious than these guys in here, so I don't know what's going on with that right there. So y'all are having a little bit more fun. So I think what we'll do, because I'm going to save my jokes for in a few minutes. I think while they're prepping the food, we're going to take a 4.5-minute intermission, Freddie, while they're ready, and then we'll get the food going here in just a minute. So have some drinks, get some refills, and then we will get the food going here when it's ready. Stand by. Thanks.
Let us stand together tonight as we offer our invocation. Let us pray. Father, we thank you today for this wonderful time that we have together. We thank you for this beautiful day. We thank you for the privilege we have to serve you. We thank you for our Chief Nichols and Sheriff Hill tonight and their departments and their outstanding job that they're doing for our community. But on the other hand, tonight our heart is in sorrow for the many officers that have paid the ultimate sacrifice this year, protecting us. We just ask you tonight to bless their families and meet every need according to your word today. Now, Father, we ask you to accept our thanks for this food and bless it to our body now in Jesus' name. Amen.
So here's the plan. Have you gotten food yet, Mitch? I'm calling you out, yeah.
sir.
So we're going to let you lead the line since you have a speaking part here in just a minute. So the food's in the room behind me. The best way to do it is to go this way, line up, and then you can get your cheesecake and sit back down. Follow Mitch, but please don't knock him down at least more than twice. So y'all go get your food. Well, after looking at that video, I have to say one thing. Y'all give me way too much ammunition with that kind of stuff. So, but I'll process it for a little bit before I do anything stupid. We're going to go ahead and get on with the program and get our keynote speaker up here. I would like to make a little commentary. So some of you I know really well and some not so much, but in a past life, I mean, I'm like the biggest geek in town. I used to be the king of the geeks, actually. So much so that back in the early 90s, I actually owned a comic book store and a card shop. Don't panic, Mitch, you know where I'm going. Because Mitch was really like one of my best customers in those days, if y'all didn't know that. So,
Thanks, Ray.
yeah, no problem. That's why I'm here, man. So, but, you know, we've matured, and, well, I really haven't, so. We let them think we have, until this moment, apparently. But we're going to go ahead and get Mitch Slaymaker. He is, of course, he's one of you guys. He was Brownwood PD for a long, I don't know how long. I'm sure you'll touch on that and everything. So it's nice to have you back in town. We see you every now and then, but probably not enough. But in modern times, he is the Deputy Executive Director of Operations for the Texas Municipal Police Association. So let's give a warm welcome for Mitch Slaymaker.
Who's my biggest fan back there? Yeah, all right, I'm good. I use my hands a lot to talk, so I can't hold anything. I'm smacking myself in the face. As Ray said, I am retired Brownwood Police Department, retired as a patrol sergeant in 2015. And as I tell anybody when I travel the state and actually the nation now, it's one of the best jobs ever. As a patrol sergeant, I loved it. You get to mentor people, you get to serve those citizens that you swore to serve, and it's very rewarding at the end of the day. I am currently Deputy Executive Director for TMPA. We represent over 27,000 working men and women in law enforcement now. So we are the largest, and we're growing continuously. I'm here tonight to provide a keynote speech, as Ray said, to y'all, but to be honest, it'll always pale in comparison to the company I'm in right now. The heroes in this room are who we are here to celebrate. I understand that we're here to recognize a select few. But what I'd like to do, I'd like to ask you now that if you are current or former law enforcement, along with your significant other, please stand up so we can recognize you. Just please stand up so we can recognize you in this room. Thank you. Since I have the mic, I'd also like to take a moment and recognize the ultimate sacrifice made this month by Officer David Sherrard, badge number 1078 of the Richardson Police Department. On February 7th, Officer Sherrard responded to a disturbance call with very little detail. Everyone in this room knows that we get those calls all the time. In a hail of smoke and gunfire, Officer Sherrard laid down his life trying to protect someone else, a stranger that he never knew. Once the suspect realized he was going to have to surrender or die, he played his final card, and the coward surrendered. We were there through the gut-wrenching screams of why and the inconsolable crying of others, as we suffered through another horrible loss of one of our heroes. So what I'd like to ask right now is if you can just pause for a moment of silence for Officer Sherrard. Thank you. Tonight I'd like to talk with you about two words, hard and hero. Hard is defined in the dictionary as requiring a great deal of effort or endurance. Hero is defined in the dictionary as a person who is admired or idealized for courage, outstanding achievements, or noble qualities. Remember these two definitions. Life is hard. It requires a great deal of endurance and effort. And the life of someone that serves is harder still. It's hard when your effort is high and your reward is low. It's hard when you do everything right, but it's perceived in the media as wrong. I speak broadly of life because law enforcement becomes our life. It is even in our oath that we are on 24/7, 365. There's an unquestionable truth about serving in law enforcement. It radically changes your life. I'll provide you with some examples. How many of you law enforcement officers in here tonight have family that is scared to death to wake you if you fall asleep on the couch or in a chair or anywhere else? My kids are. They learned. They stand way far away and throw popcorn or something at me until I wake up, and then they immediately identify themselves to me because I wake up swinging still to this day. That's not normal. We sit or stand with our backs to a wall, H.E. Fuller, you mentioned that earlier, in the back of a room so we can see everything. We are constantly scanning. We are hyper vigilant. This is not normal. At any social gathering, we desperately try to hide what we do for a living because as soon as anyone finds out, we're treated differently. And then the conversation turns to a ticket that they received 20 years prior and how unfairly they were treated. Every single time. This is not normal. We are privy to things that are really cool in our job. I mean, some really cool stuff happens and we can't talk about it to anyone because we can't jeopardize an investigation. This is not normal. We see and hear and smell horrors that we can't tell our loved ones about because it's within us that we must shelter them from that. So we internalize all of that. This is not normal. We wish to God that we could forget these things, but we never do. This is not normal. Every time we walk into an establishment, what's the first thing someone says? It wasn't me, it was him. Never gets old, right? This is not normal. I'll drive this point home with a personal experience I've never shared in an open forum before. It was early morning shift and we were in briefing and we received a call of a motorcycle versus vehicle accident on 377. On our way there, dispatch advised that it involved one of our own's spouse. When I arrived, I knew it was not good, but I had hoped that it wasn't as bad as it could be. Once the chaos at the scene was secured, I knew that our colleague deserved to be notified in person, and that person had to be me. Just like any one of you would have demanded. I recall, after notifying her, driving to the scene. A colleague was screaming at me to run code, but I knew I couldn't, because I owed the citizens of the city better. It was a whirlwind of trauma, emotion, and control. A scene which was pure chaos at the ER when they pronounced the spouse as deceased. I recall another officer asking me if I was okay. He meant no malice by it, but at that moment, I wanted nothing more than a throat puncher. But instead, I told him exactly what any of us in here would have said. No, I'm not okay, but I don't have time for that right now. I have calls for service backing up. I got in my squad car. I finished my tour of duty. I wasn't able to grieve for my friend for the loss until I was blocking traffic for the funeral procession several days later. Folks, this is not normal. That is but one story of thousands that everyone in this room can tell. We've all been there. Life as a cop is not an easy one, and it has become even harder in today's times. As a cop, you have to face all the hardships in life, but you are not able to process them the same. Everyone has expectations of you to be greater than most, to be stoic, to be extraordinary, even superhuman. Yet every single one of us that have walked the path of the warrior know that we are undeniably human. We feel, we hurt, we suffer, but we can't do or show any of that until the end of our tour of duty. I guess you could say that we are victims of our own success. We have done such a great job of doing the superhuman that it has now become the norm and the expected of us. What a setup for failure, though, wouldn't you agree? We ask superhuman tasks of an officer, and if he or she fails because he is simply human, he is quickly and mercilessly crucified. He is attacked both professionally and personally by radicalized special interest groups like Black Lives Matter that has been taken over by a terrorist agenda. He's quickly demonized in the media before all of the facts have come to light. And once those facts come to light and that officer is exonerated, you have zero media coverage of it. It doesn't sadden me when I hear of another officer ambushed and killed. I'm deeply saddened for the family. But when I hear of an officer getting ambushed and killed, I get angry. I'm extremely angry. I'm angry for him or her that this is becoming commonplace. I'm angry that there aren't people standing up across this nation yelling, enough! And you should be too. Take that anger, galvanize the steel within you, sharpen your edge, and be ready. Despite all these things we've discussed, we carry on. We know the truth of service to community, so I say to you this: use the people who don't believe in you as motivation to succeed and not a reason why you can't. When things don't go our way, we don't say, why me? We say, so what? We say, try me. When things don't go our way, we keep moving forward. Listen to my words. You do not need to defend yourself from people that doubt you. Let your actions speak for you. I'll repeat that again because it's powerful. Let your actions speak for you. When you come to a crossroad and you run into the winner and the quitter within yourself, always listen to the winner, because the quitter will never take you down a road you want to travel. The truth is that most people give up on their dreams, but not you. You achieved it through a long and hard process. Never, ever quit. So what are you going to do? Are you going to give up? You have every right to give up. You can throw in the towel, but if you give up, you'll never know the difference you could have made. I dare say that you can't give up. It's impossible for you. So what are you going to do? We keep getting knocked down again and again and again. What are you going to do? You're not going to back down. You are in charge. You are a reflection of all that is good and just in this society. There are always going to be tough times, tough moments of tragedy and pain. But if you stay strong and you keep fighting, you will not only survive, but you will thrive. You are going to discover that the challenge we face is actually the reward. For those of you that feel like giving up, for those of you who are extremely discouraged with what is going on today, with us being attacked both physically and in the news, with ambush killings at an all-time high, I want to share with you some words to consider. Every morning when you get up, and you put that gun belt on, and you put that badge on, you know this isn't a career. You know this isn't a job. The reason you don that uniform is because at some point in your life, when you were a child, or maybe later on, something within you was screaming at you. Something was in you screaming at you, I've got to go and do more. You felt something pulling you to be something more than just ordinary. You knew you had to be extraordinary. We call that a calling. I believe in that calling. I have for 25 years now and still going strong. So if you're asking yourself today, is there hope? Is there any reason for us to keep going? I'm here to tell you that if you quit the fight, every man and woman that we've lost holding that thin blue line has been in vain. Officer Sherrard's life was in vain. When you walk out that front door every day, you never know if you're going to come back. I want to encourage my brothers and sisters on the thin blue line today. If you quit your post, if you turn your back on your calling, who's going to stand in that hole and protect America? Who's going to do it? There are 2 dates on each side of that dash. Make sure that dash is not empty. Make sure it is full of a meaningful life of servitude, living, family, both blue and blood. LEO life is hard. You are harder. Life is persistent. You are relentless. So you see, if we look again at those 2 words we considered at the beginning of this address, hard and hero, we can see in the case of the LEO life, the 2 are intricately intertwined. The path is hard and requires a great deal of effort and endurance. And only a hero who is idealized, who's admired for their courage, and who has outstanding qualities can tread, survive, and provide upon it. Brothers and sisters in blue, stay strong. We need you. America needs you. You are our heroes. We see you, we appreciate you, and we love you. Thank you for having me tonight, everyone.
Dude, you've grown up a little bit. It's really amazing words of encouragement, so I appreciate you coming out, Mitch. And I'm sorry I made fun of you at the beginning. Kind of. So we're going to move on to some awards as they redo the table there to get ready for it. You know, one of my goals coming here tonight was to appreciate everything that the local police force does. But one of my other goals was, as they're giving out these awards, and Freddie's giving them out, and Amanda's taking pictures, is to have Freddie actually smile for a photo. Is that a possibility? See, he goes over here and he smiles like this, and they get the camera out, and it looks like a funeral picture. I don't know. So we'll see how it goes. Somebody make a face at him when we do this. Are we ready to go, guys?
Almost.
Almost. All right, we're going to give some awards away. The First award for this year is for Officer of the Year. This award may be given to an officer for outstanding service and/or deeds to the department, community, and profession. This year's Officer of the Year is dependable and knowledgeable on his job, duties, and demonstrated his compassionate side when he observed a juvenile who had no shoes during a call and took steps necessary without thinking to rectify the situation where the juvenile was given shoes. This type of action demonstrates the character that is constantly displayed. I don't believe our Officer of the Year is here.
Sergeant Zane Taylor will be accepting.
So the Officer of the Year is Sky Self, and Officer Zane Taylor will be accepting on his behalf.
Smile, man.
It's funny how there's a gala and suddenly all the officers get sick and don't show up. I like that. And for the record, Sky was one of my good customers too. He really was.
Thanks, bro.
His daddy used to bring him in all the time. So let him know. The next award is going to be the Civilian Employee of the Year award. This award may be given to a civilian employee within the department in recognition of their profession, skills, and outstanding contribution to the department. The Civilian Employee of the Year is a professional in all of her duties, going about doing them the best of her abilities without a complaint. She is willing to stop whatever she's doing to assist in whatever she's being asked. Her appearance and attitude convey one of professionalism, and the quality of work set the bar high for others to follow. The Civilian Employee of the Year is Angie Hill. You have to come up here now. Congratulations, Angie. Next award will be for Supervisor of the Year. This award recognizes one who is either a sworn or non-sworn supervisor for distinguished supervision and leadership in their assignment and places recipient in a position above other supervisors. Nominees display and maintain a constant commitment to outstanding job performance and demands the same from their subordinates. Nominees live by the Latin phrase "dirigo," meaning I lead. The Supervisor of the Year always has a positive attitude, works well with all co-workers, is very knowledgeable in all aspects of his job, and exemplifies honor and integrity. He is always willing to do what others do not, taking calls for his officers and always backing them up. This year's Supervisor of the Year is Jesse Mares. He's somewhere. In the party room, I see.
Yeah. Congratulations. Thank you.
So our next award is the Above and Beyond Spartan Award. This award recognizes one who exemplifies the warrior ethos of integrity, loyalty, selflessness, and courage. They are disciplined both physically and mentally, as well as tactically and technically proficient. They have furious dedication to duty, never yielding and unflinching in the execution of lawful orders. They live by the Latin phrase ductos exemplo, meaning to lead by example. The Above and Beyond Spartan Award winner is physically and mentally disciplined, and he has excelled in training tactically by becoming a SWAT certified instructor and helping set the foundation for the upcoming SWAT team. He has unyielding dedication for his job and his fellow officers. He holds a large amount of responsibility, not only in the tactical team, but as FTO and now striving to promote to corporal. Always having a positive attitude towards officers and the public, and is eager to work. This year's Above and Beyond Spartan Award winner is Noe Acosta, who I believe is here. He showed up. Also in the party room.
We gotta get big. You can in a minute. Put it on. Good. You got it? Grab this. You got it? All right, man.
And so I'm going to turn the mic over to Freddie for a special presentation.
Thank you. We have all the board. That's it.
Yeah.
The next one, or presentation we're going to do, is going to be a presentation for, serves two purposes. One is, it's going to be in dedication to Brian Greenrock. At this time, I would like to ask the Greenrock family to come up front. What's going to happen is we're going to present a flag and one of our challenge coins to you. We also want you to see the flag and the shadow box that will be placed on a wall of honor at the police department. So if y'all would make your way up here, please. This is just a small token that we're going to place, just so you'll know Brian will never be forgotten with us, okay? And this is a small plaque with the blue line on it that will be at the police department. If you would, go ahead and present the flag that was given, or it was donated by a member of the community, as well as our challenge coin. Again, there's no words I can say, okay? We just want you to show through our actions, okay, that he'll always be remembered, okay? Y'all would step on each side like a picture would go. Great. I'll turn it back over to the Emcee.
The next award we want to acknowledge tonight is the Trailblazer Award. And this award winner is another one of those who is sick tonight. So I'm going to go ahead and ruin the surprise up front. So the Trailblazer Award is going to go to Tracy Delgado. Oh, that's the award. There we go. So, yeah, you want me to give a speech as her? I don't do impressions, so you know, I've known Tracy for a long time, and so it's really unfortunate that she couldn't be here because I had some really good material for her. She's probably the only police officer that actually literally scared me to death if I ever crossed her. So, but she was also a good friend at the same time. I understand when there were drug raids, they would broadcast her name on the scanner, hoping that the druggies would hear it and just surrender, knowing that she's on the way, type of thing. So, but one important thing is Tracy has a pretty cool story. And I think it's important to kind of tell that story. Freddie has typed it up in probably the smallest font I've ever seen in my entire life. So I appreciate that. So I'm going to do my best to read this story because I think it's an important story to tell. And I hope if any of you have her number and want to text her that we are talking about her as we speak, that would be outstanding. So I'm going to go ahead and read this prepared statement. The Brownwood Municipal Police Association was established in 1957, composed of officers in good standing employed by the City of Brownwood for the purpose of perpetuating the memory and spirit of police officers who have given their lives in the pursuit of their duty, instilling the spirit of cooperation and highest regard for our calling. The BMPA strives for better relationships between officers and the citizens of the community we serve. The association board members have created an award to honor a member who exemplifies the mission of the association, who serves the department and the community with the highest standards of excellence and generosity. This award will be known as the BMPA Trailblazer Award. It seemed fitting to name this award the Trailblazer after the first recipient because the name describes her perfectly. When asked what led you to a career in law enforcement, her reply, "I always knew, even as a small child, that I wanted to be a police officer." At 18, she began charting her course for achieving her dream, working towards saving enough money to attend the Law Enforcement Academy. Then she was old enough to attend. Tracy graduated as a peace officer from the West Central Texas Council of Governments in 1987. She began as an officer for the Brownwood Police Department in 1989. She was only the 5th female officer to be hired in the department's history. 8 years later, she would be the first female to promote to the rank of sergeant within the department. Several years later, she achieved the highest rank of promotion to lieutenant, again the first female in the department's history. Over Tracy's 27-year career with the Brownwood Police Department, she worked many different facets, from foot patrol all the way to supervision, or division supervisor, being the only female officer to retire from the department. Through many triumphs and even some difficult tragedies, she's always exemplified the core values of the department. Serving others has always played an important role in Tracy's life. From personal to professional, she has served and given back to the community she loves with uncountable acts of generosity and kindness. She proudly served the department for many years, educating youth as a DARE officer, helped start the Noe Project for survivors of domestic abuse, and the start of the Family Services Center. She has volunteered countless hours of security and assistance for the American Cancer Society's Relay for Life, American Heart Association, the Brownwood Feels Like Home celebration, and just about every other event that has occurred in our city in the last 27 years. She's been a member of the Brownwood Municipal Police Association until her retirement and has served many years in varying board positions, always doing more than her fair share to represent her association, her brothers and sisters in blue, and the citizens she so dearly loves with fierce determination and a dedication of excellence. Let's give a hand for the Trailblazer, the inaugural Trailblazer Award winner, Tracy Delgado. Do you want a picture of any kind to just make fun of her in some way or something since she's not here? You know, Tracy retired after essentially a career-ending injury, which ironically was at the Feels Like Home celebration, and every time I run into her, she blames me for that career-ending injury. So I hope in jest, but you just never know with her. But she's a good friend, and I was really honored to be able to read that in her honor. And maybe we need to have her look for this or something. So moving on, I guess we do have one other presentation, or a couple more, and I'm going to turn it back over to Freddie for the next award.
The next award that we're going to present is a new one, and most people don't want this award, but somebody has to get it. So, this past year, we had an officer of the department despite several safety precautions, okay, took it upon himself to put 50,000 volts into an unsuspecting chair that was directly in front of him, for whatever reason. Go back there. And then have the audacity to say, how did that happen? So, for that, okay, Mr. Slayton will receive what is called the Desk Pop Award this year.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Our last award for the evening will be presented by Mr. Slayton.
Chandra, if you don't mind joining us up here. So, Chandra is getting out of law enforcement, and Chandra and I started this long and arduous journey kind of together back in 2007 with the Brownwood Police Department. So it's kind of fitting that I get to speak a little bit about her. For those of you who may or may not know, Chandra has been an integral part not only to the Brownwood Police Department but to the BMPA as well. She served numerous roles with our association. She sat on the board of directors. She's handled numerous committees, and she's been a very special part of our association when it comes to handling such events as the daddy-daughter dance and the bicycle rodeo. At the police department, she's handled such events as National Night Out. She's handled, helped with Citizens Police Academy, and she's going to be very deeply missed. Getting to see her smile, hear her laugh at the police department. Her last day is coming up very shortly, too soon, but we just wanted to give her a small token of our appreciation for everything that she's done, not only for the department, but for our association as well. So if you could, please stand and give her a round of applause.
She needs a picture, Chandra.
Oh yeah, with tears in my eyes.
That's it.
You know, Ray mentioned that Chandra kind of helped with National Night Out when we kicked it off. So she and I, those first few years, basically founded it and put it together like it is. I thought I was full of energy. I could not keep up with the girl. I can guarantee you. So you'll definitely be missed, but that doesn't mean you probably won't get harassed by a few people. That's all of the awards. Just a couple of things to kind of wrap up before we can follow the party room over here. Do want to thank the sponsors for tonight's event. Landmark Life Insurance Company as the presenting sponsor, and also Big Country Ford and Bruner Auto Group. Let's give the sponsors a hand. Thanks, guys. And then we're going to adjourn the formal part of this here in just a second, and I have a note here to remind the audience to take photos at the photo booth. Sharon Cook's over there with all sorts of get-ups. I think several of you have done that already. And then there'll be some dancing in here. Follow these guys on the dance floor. I just wanted to kind of close with a little commentary. Did you have anything, Freddie? Thank you. I forgot something. So if you are a retired officer with the Brownwood Police Department, can you please stand and be recognized?
Or employee.
or employee? I know there's a few, come on. Yeah, Let's give these guys a hand. Thanks for the reminder, Freddie. When Mitch was talking over there about the dash, I couldn't help but think, my dad's been retired from law enforcement for a long time, and he's moved off and he's recently moved back, and in my garage there is boxes of old ticket books. And for any of you new guys, they used to not have computers, they used to have ticket books. And so there's like the carbon copies, and then there's boxes of his old uniforms. And every now and then he'll ask me if I still have them. I said, yes, I still have them. They're sitting in my garage, probably getting eaten by bugs or something. But to him that's important, because it reminds him of the career that he did have, that he's proud of for the most part. And I remember all the stories growing up of the high-speed chases that he had, and getting beat up in the bar ditch in front of the Early Lions Club by a trucker one time, and all the wrecks that he went to. And those things in those boxes represent that dash, and I think it's something he's real proud of. And I think of him and his career nowadays, having a hard job like that, and then having the, social media and media scrutiny that's out there now, just makes it 10 times harder than it used to be. So all of you have my admiration, officers and spouses and family, because I've been there as far as the family side of things, so I can understand to some degree what you go through. So my hat's off to everyone in the room. I appreciate all of your hard work, just as I know as the community does. So with that, we're going to adjourn and have some fun.